All right, I usually don't mic up for these things, but I thought I'd give it a shot. So there's a group chat in the Hangout window somewhere. Hopefully you can see that. So feel free to ask questions. Otherwise, I'll just ramble on here and probably put it on YouTube eventually. So this is the first page I'm coloring from a new project, so that's always a little bit of an experiment, figuring out what's going to work with the art style. And I've colored this artist before, but he uses more washes this time, so I'm probably going to try to do a little less this time, since his washes should actually make up for over rendering. I just got this from the Flatter, so these are just colors the Flatter put on. I'll be changing all of these, and that'll be the first step. So and if anyone's there, I'm just pulling up the script. This is a new project. If you've just joined me, I've just got these pages from the Flatter, so I'm going in and playing around with the base colors now. Because the pages I get from the Flatter, they're just really random colors. They won't actually be used. And let's see, I don't know what, let's see, according to the script, it is night times. If the moon didn't give that away. So you can see it's a lot of very saturated colors, which for nighttime is not really what we want. So I'm just going in and editing these. And you'll see me hide the line art quite a bit. What I'm doing when I do that is, I don't know if you guys can see this on the stream, but there's a lot of washes and a lot of, these are not just black and white lines. So if I were to try to color pick through this, and you can see the color picker is sort of jumping around because it's grabbing some of the, it's lighter here, but it's darker here. So when you hide the lines, you make sure that you're getting the right color there. And if you've just joined, again, this is a brand new project for me, so there'll be a little more experimentation than usual as I'm kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing here. Something else, just a tip for anybody that's listening, in your colorist, the whites of eyes and teeth are rarely actually white, not pure white anyway. I'll shift these colors around quite a bit as I'm working on it. But what I'm doing now, I'm putting a new layer on top of this, filling it with that blue color, and then changing the layer mode to color, and just changing the opacity. And you can see it sort of ties everything together here. And it's desaturated it all quite a bit also, so I can bump that back up if I want. Still not crazy about these background, or those the pack and whatnot that he's carrying. Other thing I will do is I'll put a layer on top, fill it with black, whoops, a whole layer in black, then change that to color. And it's a good way to kind of check your values. And a lot of these are very mid-tone, which I think is okay for all of this. I mean, for the most part, these trees could maybe go a little darker, but you don't want to get too dark. And then here, he really needs to pop a little bit more off of that background. So I'm just going to select that background and pump it up a little bit. All right, and so I'm going to duplicate my flats. I'm going to call it colors, and I'm going to lock these flats so that I don't accidentally change those. Might as well do that there too on the inks. And this color layer is actually where I'm going to be doing the rendering. So if you're not familiar with my selection trick, what I do is select the window or select the area that I want to color. And I've got a script or an action, I guess it is, set to F4, which puts it on a new layer and locks the transparency. So even if I try, even with the selection, I can't color outside of that. So it leaves me free to move around here and not have to worry about keeping it highlighted or selected. So and I'm intentionally trying to keep this pretty subtle. I'm not really going crazy with, you know, rendering through here. I'm getting a little brighter here as I'm getting closer because I kind of want your eye to kind of follow all this going back. Because I really want you to kind of trace this road back to the moon. Or at least that's my theory anyway. I haven't really colored anything like this in a long time. The last time I worked on this book was about 2 years ago. So, or with this artist, it was the same book. It was issue 0, I believe. And you'll see me zoom out and sort of check things, or check values again. And if you're watching, feel free to comment or ask questions in there's a group chat if you go to the Hangout. I usually don't keep that on, but I sort of screwed up my, oh, I colored on my flats, which we don't want. I think I did that before I locked it, so. Again, these trees are way off in the distance, so I mean, not having to be super careful or anything through here. I just kind of want to give a little indication that there's some light getting through here, but I feel a little like Bob Ross here. It's a happy little tree. He's got a friend. I actually did a Bob Ross painting in middle school. I guess my mom has it somewhere. Wasn't very good. To the one person listening, thank you. Listening to the ravings of this madman talk about Bob Ross. And this brush is just in normal mode at 50% before someone asks, usually. It's not a special brush at all. It's just a regular, like, big brown brush. You know. Just the hardness I sort of play with here, but it's nothing magical. And I'm assuming there's actually a good bit of snow on these trees too, which is why I'm going pretty light on these trees here. This is definitely, I'm definitely feeling like channeling Bob Ross right now. And the closer you get, the more detail you can get to, you know. Still zoomed pretty far in though, so this can look sort of messy now when you back up. It's like, oh, it's awesome trees. You get close and it's like, oh, it's not, it's really not. going to post to Twitter really quickly and tell people that I'm talking to myself. There's 2 people watching now. Look out. Gonna break records here. I hope that this clacking on the tablet is not. I bet it's a pain in the ass. Sorry. My microphone is actually like a recording microphone, like a legitimate music recording microphone, and it picks up everything. So sorry about that if it's a little loud. Not sure what to do with the sky, to be honest. I mean, it's got this cool, you know, brushy texture stuff going on, but I'm not exactly sure how to handle that. I've also got an action I use for color holds to like change the color of lines. In this case, I don't know if this is going to work very well. So we will test it out. That helped, I think. If you've just joined us, this is a new project, coloring the very first page for the very first time, so I'm sure there will be lots of experimentation while I'm trying to figure out what's going to work. We've got 3 people now. I don't know if the chat thing is not working or if no one's talking. It's fine if you don't want to talk. That's cool. I usually don't turn the mic on, but figured I would experiment here. I'm just trying to pull some of this blue down a little bit into these shadows. I can't remember, some painter called that spreading the color around or something. I can't remember who I learned that from. It helps to even things out. You guys are going to figure out how little I know about color theory while you're in here. There's a lot of just total trial and error, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Not no idea, but you know what I'm saying. It's a rough ink style, which I'm totally fine with, but it's also it's much different than what I've been coloring lately, which has been very like super clean, sharp lines. So it is a little bit, like I said, it's just very different from what I've been working on. Just a flatting error there I was fixing. I'm going to have to tackle this guy eventually, so. This is definitely brushier than I usually work too. Usually very much like a cut and grad guy, like just lasso and soft brushes, but I don't think it would fit very well here. I think cuts are okay for hair. If you've just joined me, there is a chat window. I usually don't turn the mic on for live streams, but I thought I would experiment and see if anybody wanted to ask questions or just talk about anything there. Feel free to ask away in there. This is a new project. You may have heard this a couple of times already if you've been here for a while. So I'm sort of experimenting here. This is the first page of the new project. So I'm sort of trying new things here, or different things than I usually would do. I'm sorry if the clacking of my pen on the on the tablet is annoying or anything. I don't know how loud it is. I can't hear myself. So. Again, if you're used to watching me on YouTube, this is very much a different style than I would normally do. It's a very kind of brushy ink style, and there's lots of grayscale tones and things in it. I want to kind of let it work with that as opposed to, you know, just doing cut and grab like I usually do. And if someone listening, I'm just curious now if you can find the group chat. It's a little blue talking symbol with some lines on it. I just want to see if it's actually working, or if everyone is just doesn't care to talk, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But now I'm wondering if it works at all. There's no one saying anything. You don't have to answer there, I guess, if it's not working. Maybe you can tell me on Twitter or Facebook or something. I'm curious to know if it's working at all. Okay, so I've got a comment on the stream on the Google event, but I'm not watching that. I can't watch that at the same time. If you've just joined us, I'm trying to troubleshoot the chat window right now. Apparently, it's not working, or people don't want to talk. I don't know. I did see a test comment on the Google event, but in the Google Hangout thing, it's a little. It looks like two speech bubbles talking to each other. If it's hidden, it will show the group chat. So if you guys want to ask questions or something, that's fine. Or again, it may not be working at all because no one's saying anything, which is fine. I may have to try another platform if this isn't going to work. Okay, so it looks like people may be watching on YouTube. Maybe that is the thing here. So okay, I just sent a link to someone. See if that works any better. Okay, so I'm gonna just, if you guys will bear with me 1 second, I'm gonna try to put a link in a YouTube comment. Maybe people will see it there, possibly. I think that's what it is. I think people are coming from YouTube, and it doesn't show you where the chat is. See, I get a pop-up, be part of the conversation on YouTube. That should also take you there. I just don't want to have to switch monitors and keep like refreshing YouTube comments. It's kind of a pain. There's a chat window. If you're watching on YouTube, I just put a comment that should take you to the event page. I think you can get into the Hangout from there. And in the Hangout, there's a little chat box, and I can see that easily. Because otherwise, refreshing YouTube comments is no fun. I can't do that in color at the same time. I did see a question about masking. I don't really mask anything technically. I've got a video called The Selection Trick is the name of it. And if you'll watch that, that will explain how I do that. I've got people coming from Google Plus too, which I didn't realize even is still a thing. I guess it posted on my the Google Plus thing, but it's interesting that people are coming from there. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, I think I finished what I was saying, but if you go watch that color selection trick video, it explains what I'm doing. It's just I'm putting my selection on a new layer and locking the transparency. So like right now, I'm rendering this guy's face. You can see layer 4 is actually a new layer on top of the colors. So that's where that's what's allowing me to color without worrying about going outside the lines. If you're just joining us, if you look at the comment on the whether it's from YouTube or Google Plus, I put a link to the Hangout, which should let you type questions there. It's otherwise it's tough for me to try to see what all's being asked. I can't really follow along the others and still work at the same time. I just heard myself echoing. It's weird. But apparently no one can find the chat window. the group chat in the Hangout is a lost cause at this point. All right, well, I think I'm getting pretty close to being done here. So maybe next time I do this, I'll try a different platform. I think maybe livestream.com or something else. Sorry that I couldn't see all of your questions. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like people are finding it. They're just not talking very much, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Seeing if there was any questions that I missed on the Google Plus. No. And Twitter is clear. And I'm just going to check YouTube one more time. If the person that's asking how long does it take to make a character was the question, I'm just coloring this picture, so there's no there was no I didn't actually draw this. I'm just coloring it. Now, backing off of this, the values here, as far as how bright he is versus the background, it's all a little too close. Like if I turn this on in black and white, you can see this guy kind of gets lost here. Yeah, people are saying they can't get to the group chat. That's jacked up, man. Let's see. I don't see any kind of controls or yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. So anyway, sorry guys, he blends into the background a little too much, you know. And even in black and white, the page should work, you know. So what I'm going to do is lighten this background some, and you don't want to overdo it necessarily, but let's see now. So you know, he pops off that a little bit more. I could even probably go a little darker on him, but I'm getting about as much black ink in these colors as I want. Something else a lot of new colorists don't realize, because I used to screw this up when I first started. Whenever you are picking colors, you'll notice that, like if I color pick this darkest shadow here, it's only got about 20K, which the CMYK, the K is black. That's the black ink. If you get much more than 20 or 30 here, it all ends up printing very muddy. So in comics, you want to you want to make things look dark without actually being dark, if that makes sense. So even though this is nighttime, and in the shadows here, it does look like it's dark. You know, these are not particularly dark colors. You start playing around in here, and you're going to have a problem. It's going to print bad. I mean, it'll look good on the screen because your monitor's, you know, glowing. But once you get it into a printed page, it'll look like crap. So you don't want that. I think I'm happy with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send this to the creator of Steele Versus, who is Scott Schmidt. Scott R. Schmidt is the writer, and I will see what he thinks. And I'm just going to brighten this up a little bit more. Just a little bit. I don't want to get it as bright as this up here. I want this to read as closer. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to lighten like this whole section of ink so that it looks more atmospheric. So we'll just try this and see how it looks. Just big soft brush over the background here. So we've got that. compared to that. I think I like it better. But yeah, I'm going to send this off and see what he thinks. And depending on how this style works, I'll wait to hear from him before I continue on to page 2, because it is a little different than what I did before. I'm still not sure. Yeah, that should work. So we'll see. We'll see what he thinks, and I'll try to stream the first couple of pages. Maybe the first 5 or so is probably okay. Those tend to get shown in previews anyway. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Sorry that we couldn't get you into the chat. Next time I will try something else, and so we can maybe talk while we're, or at least I can answer questions while I'm coloring here. So, all right. So thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you don't subscribe on YouTube, please do so. I do have a coloring course if you're not familiar. If you go to comiccolor.com/learn, it's Comic Color, all spelled out, COMICCOLOR.com. It's $50, $49 actually. It's 15 lectures, I think. It's very comprehensive. It builds on itself, and I don't think there's anything quite like it on the net at that price, especially. So anyway, thanks again, and we'll talk next time.